What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome in to CHGO Bulls Postgame, presented to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download that app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Not the winner's lounge that we were hoping for to kick off our Thanksgiving weekend. Nope. It was heartbreaking overtime. I'm Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. My guys, Big Dave at BAL, BWL Sports. Will, the GOAT, Will_Gottlieb. Our producer, Steven, rocking with us as well. Late night here at CHGO Studios. Bulls fall to the Thunder.
Boom.
In OT, 123-119 the final. Bulls fall to 8-11 on the season. 1-1 so far on this big old road trip. Throw us your comments, your questions, anything on your mind, Bulls Nation. It's group therapy time. Gentlemen, I'm not going to lie. I am displeased.
Yeah.
After you saw this team prove they can play the way that they played against Boston and against Milwaukee, not just two of the best teams in the East, but arguably two of the best teams in the entire NBA, and you're not playing on a back-to-back or anything like that. You had a day of rest, get to OKC, maybe had yourself a nice Thanksgiving dinner, and they, Stacey said it, and people say it all the time, when you're playing down to competition, letting people hang around, they let them hang around, and it bit them. Like, the Bulls are a better team.
Yeah.
That Thunder team we talked about at pregame, they're young, they're athletic, they're feisty, they play hard.
Yeah.
The level of need to win energy that the Bulls played with against Boston and against Milwaukee was not there tonight, and that's why I'm upset, because maybe they steal that win if a few possessions go their way in overtime or before overtime, but you shouldn't have even been there. Bulls were up double digits early, and it should have stayed that way the whole game. But they took their foot off the gas. They dicked around. I don't know how many times I saw the Bulls cough up unforced turnovers with just travels, mindless travels.
I'll tell you. 5 times.
5 times?
Counted it.
Thank you, Will the GOAT Gottlieb. 5 times. 5 of their 15 turnovers at least
1/3
were unforced. And once again tonight, getting beat on hustle plays, getting beat on the glass. How many putback buckets do we see the Thunder get in that second half? I'm sick of this shit. We know that they can play better than this.
It feels like they lost a lot of the goodwill that they built up from those last 2 wins. When you are 8-11, it's a game you have to win. You look at the road trip that they're on. It was Celtics at home, obviously, but then Bucks, you've got Phoenix, you've got Utah, you've got Golden State, you've got Sacramento, who's playing, maybe the hottest basketball in the entire league right now. Like, where are these wins going to come from? It has to be this Thunder team. Now, they're much better, obviously, than they have been the last few years. We saw tonight, like, Shai is playing out of his mind, MVP caliber player right now. But these are the games that you have to start winning if you want to be in the playoffs. Right now, the Bulls are the 11th seed. They would not be in the play-in tournament if the playoffs started today. And it's not just like show up for the good games, show up for the good teams, and see if you can tread water against bad teams. Like, last year, what kept them afloat was that they took care of business against the bad teams. And this year, they just haven't been able to do it for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a mentality thing. I don't know if it's an effort thing. But they cannot afford to keep losing these games because now you look at the rest of this road trip. And like I said, where do you get these wins? You can't, they're 1-1 on the road trip. I think at this point, we probably would have been okay with that outcome. But you did the hard thing. You beat the Bucks. And now you got to build on that. And so coming out of this game, I think it is a huge disappointment. And these next 4 or 5 games are not getting any easier.
Yeah, we talked about it in the pregame, just about the Thunder and how good of a team we thought they were. Their record didn't really dictate, what we thought of them as far as their skill level. You touched on SGA and all of that. And that's why I said anytime we played OKC, it was always a dogfight and it was always a struggle. I remember the last year game when they went into overtime and lost against them. I remember the Zach LaVine and Denzel Valentine running into him in OKC and getting that loss, which was also in overtime. The Bulls are like that against OKC. That's just kind of how it's been against them. This game, I do think, Matt, they came out with that energy to start early on.
They did.
They were on fire. And
starting here was up double digits.
Yeah, they had that energy, and they were trying to, put it on them early. But when the bench came in, credit to OKC, they got their thing together quickly. And they handled their business and ended up going out of that first quarter with the lead. And I remember Will saying, if this ends in a tie, that's not ideal. And it didn't. It ended up with them having a 2-point lead, which is definitely not ideal. Okay, so, I mean, it's funny because I want to be mad at the Bulls, but I shouldn't say mad is a strong word for me. I'm not mad at them. I wish they won, of course, but I'm just looking at OKC, man, and the things I saw them do. Now, the Bulls did do some little things which helped them lose this game. You mentioned 5 travels. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Another game where they don't shoot, where their 3-point shooting wasn't ideal. I believe they shot 36%. They were on pace to shoot that 40% that's when I was like, oh man, we're gonna win this game, because again, they're undefeated when that happens. And then when that started falling
nobody could hit a 3 in the fourth quarter or overtime.
Nobody could hit anything
my God.
in that fourth quarter or that overtime. If it wasn't for DeMar DeRozan, they wouldn't even been in that situation, honestly.
Even DeMar, it felt like, and the 3-point shooting I think is a huge part of it, and we can talk more about that. Even DeMar, he's
missed
been
looks
making like
that
18 out of 20 mid-range jumpers every game, and they weren't going down. That's just kind of how it is sometimes.
Also missed 2 free throws as well.
DeMar going 12 of 27 sounds like, okay, yeah, I mean, 12 of 27 ain't bad. But for DeMar, sounds wildly inefficient.
Yeah.
And the fact that he missed a couple of those crucial ones late in this game. Also, credit where credit's due, DeMar was the only Bull to score in overtime.
Yeah, he was.
9 Bulls points in overtime, all DeMar DeRozan. That is a problem. But you talk about the 3-pointers not falling as this game progressed, and I see people talking about it in the comments. Vuč in particular.
Yeah.
Vuč was scoring inside when he wanted to, and when his teammates were getting him the ball inside. Tonight was one of those bad Vuč nights from behind the arc. 1 of 7. And he had a couple good open looks, including in the corners late in this game, late fourth quarter. He may have had one in OT as well. No, they all rimmed out.
Yeah.
And I see people in the comments saying, like, man, why did the Bulls stop going to Vuč? Because Vuč, inside the 3-point arc tonight, 5 of 7.
Mm-hmm. I think
feed that man. Like, this Thunder team doesn't really have anybody with the muscle and the size to guard Vuč inside.
Yeah, they struggle getting him the ball inside early on. But that's one of the reasons why I've said I'm not that mad and pissed about it, because those Vuč threes, man, like you said, those were in and out, except for that one brick he shot from the elbow, which was out of control ridiculous. But they were like in and out, man. And I'm like, that's just bad luck on that one. It's just your not your night shooting. And Will, even you were saying that when certain DeMar shots weren't going down, you were just like, oh man, just not his night. It's not that they were bad shots, they just weren't hitting them.
And that happens. Like, you, over the course of 82 games, you're going to have games where you don't shoot 55%. And that's okay. But that's why it's so important to take care of business on these teams, because you have to give yourself the breathing room to be able to come back from that. And right now, it just doesn't seem like they have that space, because they've dug themselves this hole where their record is now, 8-11.
Yes. 8-11, the Bulls. And you're right. And it's a game that they should win. It's a game that they should have against OKC. I wasn't super duper confident, because it was, like I said, the history of OKC and the Bulls, it hasn't been easy, when we go there. When they come here, the Bulls usually whoop their ass. When they come here to Chicago to play them, the Bulls usually give it to them. But it's something about going down there that they just kind of struggle with, and it's been over the years. It hasn't just been like this year or nothing. It's been over the years. It's been like that with OKC and the Bulls. And again, credit Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, man. That dude is special, all right? That is a special basketball player right there. That dude can score any way he wants to. If you watch his highlights, nothing is the same. None of his buckets are the same. All of them are different. Even the way he won the game wasn't the same. You know what I mean? Like, just hit him with the DeMar pump fake.
Man.
Well, hit him with the push-off, and then hit him with the DeMar pump fake, and then the 3 free throws, and that sealed it, and then hit 2 more to just ice it.
R.I.P. DeMar. I mean, man.
He had to feel bad after that, man.
That's a tough way to go.
Yeah, man, seriously.
That's tough.
Taste of his own medicine.
Taste of his, right. Dying by your own sword, man. That's tough. But, I mean, he's like you said, he's a bad man, bro.
I mean, we talked at pregame about how good Shai has been this season at getting to the free throw line, and how deadly accurate he is at the free throw line. Oof. The 5 final points for the Thunder to ice that game, Shai free throws.
14 of 15 from the free throw line. He was.
Damn.
14 of 15.
That is even more efficient than his 91.5% on the season.
He had more attempts than DeMar and Zach combined.
And that's actually a great point. You look at the total free throw disparity here. It's 32 for the Thunder, 23 for the Bulls. This is a team, like we've kind of mentioned, does not have a real rim protector.
Correct.
They got Poku down there.
Yeah.
Like they needed to be going to the basket a lot more than they did, whether it was for the Vuč post-ups or for, Zach or DeMar just getting all the way downhill. On a night where, the three-point shot was fine, 12 of 23. When you look at that in comparison to these last 2 games, the Celtics and the Bucks, where they were just on absolute fire, like you can't always rely on shooting 48% on threes. That's just not going to happen.
It's not going to be ideal.
And so you need to be able to bank on or default to another area of offense. And typically that has been, for the Bulls, DeMar shooting an incredibly efficient number from the mid-range and the team's ability to get to the free throw line. Neither of those were quite there tonight.
And when it's like that, I look at like guys like Kobe and Pat. And again, I'm not getting on them. I'm just saying these are the guys I look at because I talked about how Kobe is the only other like real creator of a guy who has that ability, especially off the bench, to actually get to the paint and do something. He didn't have a free throw attempt. I look at Patrick Williams, who played solid tonight. Honestly, I thought Platt played well.
People in the comments are saying, why wasn't there more Pat tonight?
Yeah, especially on the defensive end. He played well. I thought so.
He played 32 minutes.
He did.
Like,
he
we
played
haven't really
32.
seen that, like Pat creeping up closer to the 40-minute end of the high 30s. That's not really a thing Billy's done yet.
Yeah, he's got to get there gradually, man. Like, it's still on that trajectory. But like I was looking at, because I wanted him to go to the paint. Now, to his credit, he did go a couple times, and a couple of them just didn't get called when he went in there.
You know what did get called, though?
He had no free throw attempts.
You know what did get called? Pat for those screens.
Oh, my God, man. I told you this game
I know.
I told
That's
you
why
this,
I just
man.
brought it up.
I told you this. I saw it coming.
That was a crucial late game possession when Pat got called for that illegal screen.
See, Will, a while back, I don't think you were here when I was telling him you could see the writing on the wall that the referees were kind of like had him on their wall, in the pregame, like, watch this dude.
He's on the scouting report.
He's on the scouting report for the refs. Yes, watch this dude. And it's not like he's setting, the bad picks or the worst or whatever, but he's just on their list. And you could see it coming early in the season. I told Matt, I said, I don't like this at all, man, because it's now they're looking for him. So when he goes to set those screens, he is going to get those calls. And you saw that immediately. Lou Dort knew it. Oh, my God, Lou Dort was getting his acting on tonight. He was doing his thing. The flagrant they checked was Lou Dort. That was Lou Dort doing it. When he went down against Pat, that was Lou Dort. He was doing it that way. But I hate that Pat is on the radar now for these referees, man, because that just messes with his game. Because, like you said, he seems like he wants to be that screen setter. Like he has to set those screens for this team.
And actually, Stacey made a really good point on the broadcast with that, which is, one, DeMar needs to wait until the screen is set before he takes off. Otherwise, that's just going to get called. But 2 is, Stacey mentioned that if DeMar starts to go, Pat's got to slip out of that.
Yes, correct.
I think that's kind of the next step for Pat as a screener, which is understanding how to read those situations as a screener. If DeMar is going to take off, then he needs to be ready to slip out. And right now, he loves doing that thing where he sets a hard screen, he seals the guy on his back, and then he kind of like takes him into the paint where he makes himself available for a dump-off pass. But when that's not there and he's doing it anyway, it's kind of like when Zach gets tunnel vision and he's got this prescribed move that he's going to, and if it's not available, he's just going to force it and it's not going to look good. Pat needs to be able to read that in the game while it's happening live, and it's a really hard pattern to recognize. But he's got to get to that point, and that's kind of the next level for him as a screener. I think that's, somebody said more Pat, like that's how you get more Pat. You incorporate him into the offense. Like on that last play, DeMar called for him because he wanted his man to come switch.
He did.
And that's the other thing that I think the Thunder did really well was avoid switching. We talk so much about these teams being really good switchable defenses, Lou Dort was fantastic at staying attached to DeMar on screens.
He was.
And the Bulls did not take advantage of that when they were in that intermediary period where Dort was still kind of deciding if he wanted to go full switch or get back. DeMar likes to be really methodical and slow, not to necessarily his detriment, but today, he had opportunities to dump off the ball, and it's hard when you're scoring all 9 of your points in overtime, but I think those were areas where they could have done a little bit more damage.
And even to your point right there, one of the last plays of that game, when he ran that play again with Vučević, they did it exactly how Stacey was talking about, because he came out to set it and he went early and Vučević just slipped it, but they still were able to get the switch. You know what I'm saying? When he slipped that right there. And that's because Vučević is a vet. You know what I mean? He knows DeMar. He knows what to do. And so Pats is going to come with repetition and timing and things like that.
And that actually makes it, I think, in a lot of ways easier to get the switch, because if you're not spending any time there, the initial defender has time to get back.
Yeah.
Whereas if you slip out, then you've got to make the call, and then DeMar can get downhill.
Right.
Or you're open for 3. So I think that's just something that he's going to need to get more and more reps at.
Yeah.
Clearly,
Great.
he has been working very much on setting hard screens, which you need to be able to do.
Sure.
But as I said, the next step off of that is slipping out.
I also want to talk about the game that we saw from Zach tonight, because the three of us were talking about it a lot as we were watching tonight's game.
Yeah.
What exactly we're seeing from Zach offensively. Some good, some bad, yet again tonight. We'll talk about that and plenty more coming up next, including some of y'all's comments. Keep them coming. Hit that thumbs up button while we share with you some words from our friends and sponsors, which include one of my favorites. It's our friends at Green Ridge Farm, y'all. This time of year, holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, you need good meats. You need good meats in the kitchen.
Good meats.
Green Ridge Farm has you covered. The Chicago local meat and cheese company offers you a better all-natural option. Makers of all-natural deli meat, sausages, and their famous meat sticks. Perfect for tailgating, happy hour, school lunches, and with 16 grams of protein packed into every stick, they
16?
make a perfect post-workout snack. Wow. I'm going to go home and get a tight workout in after this.
What?
Then have a meat stick.
You believe that, Steven? You believe that?
Not for a second.
No, he's the one who works out.
Oh, yeah.
They come in chicken and Black Forest beef, as well as different flavor varietals like jalapeno cheddar and spicy chili. If you haven't tried these meat sticks, y'all, you're missing out. Delicious because they're made from recipes generations in the making, and being all natural, they deliver a fresh and flavorful alternative at snack time. You can always find these Green Ridge Farm products in the refrigerated section at Costco and Sam's Club, plus all of your local Chicagoland grocery stores. And right now, if you go to their website, greenridgefarm.com,
Go there.
order any 3 meat products,
Come on.
and include a pack of meat sticks in that shopping cart online.
Talk sexy.
Those meat sticks will be free.
Ooh.
$0, $0 free meat
Don't
sticks.
even need a Black Friday for that.
With promo code CHGO, of course. Promo code CHGO at greenridgefarm.com. Free meat sticks.
Free.
Check them out.
Get them. Get you some. I'm about to test them. Real quick. Steven,
Yeah.
what time is it?
Game time. Woo.
Oh! Get them in there, baby.
Steven knows what's up.
That's what I'm saying, man. I love that stuff right there, man. Game Time is the hottest new ticket in sight that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. Have you ever dreamed of sitting in that seat you thought you never could? That 50-yard line, the courtside behind home plate, floor seats at a concert? Huh? I have. I hope you have too. Well, now it's possible with the Game Time app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you thought you could never, ever afford. You won't find a better deal this season, y'all, to see the Chicago Bulls. You won't do it. And just like those beautiful people here at CHGO, Game Time is created by the fans and for the fans. And it guarantees you the lowest price possible. So if you love CHGO, and we know that you do, then you'll love Game Time. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description, and do that after or before you hit that thumbs up right there, and you give us one of those to let you know that we love them. That perfect thumb right there, ladies and gentlemen.
That's the one.
That one right there. Thumbs all over the place. Hit it, y'all. Join the over 15 million people who have downloaded the Game Time app and scored the best seats to all your favorite events. Because what time is it?
Game time?
I like that. He went up. And then brought you down. I dig that. I'm picking up or what you're putting down.
All right, gentlemen, I was thinking somewhere in that early fourth quarter that we were finally going to get our Zach LaVine fourth quarter that we've been looking for. Mm-hmm. He hit a couple, He had going to the bucket, then he had a couple of big threes as the Bulls were making that fourth quarter comeback that they needed to make to put themselves in position to win this game. And then there were more of those just head-scratching Zach possessions where he kind of stops the flow of the offense, the ball stops in his hands, then he goes ISO, ends up taking a questionable shot, to put it kindly. And then the other element that we discussed, and you pointed out, Will, is the way in which he's attacking the basket recently and how it's not maybe the most efficient way that Zach could be trying to A, draw contact, and B, finish at the rim. What do we make of this? Because, again, he was on his way to having a nice game. He finished with 27, but it wasn't an efficient 27. 9 of 23, 4 of 11 from downtown. It's still just some good, some bad from Zach, and some of the reminds us of 3 seasons ago, Zach, when it comes to ball stopping, ISO, hero ball, bad decisions on offense.
Yeah, I'm writing about it more in depth in my game recap, but it really it really stood out to me on a couple. There was like one series where Zach had he had gotten the ball in the wing, and it came back to him in the flow of the offense, and he had an opportunity to just drive to the basket, and instead he pulled it out, tried to get into his bag a little bit, and then pulled up for a fadeaway jumper, missed it. Next possession, he was floating to the top of the key. The ball was moving around. It found him, and he just drove to the basket and hit a layup. And it was it really stood out to me that there are plays where Zach just makes the game a lot harder for himself than he needs to.
Yeah.
When he catches the ball in the flow of the offense and dribble pass shoot right away, he is one of the most effective, lethal players in the NBA. You cannot convince me otherwise. His ability to shoot, his ability to get to the rim, when he's made up his mind and is going there, he's so damn good. It's so tough to stop.
Yeah.
But it's kind of this trap where he's so talented that he thinks he has a little bit more ability to create something out of nothing.
Yeah.
And so when he falls back into that, it stagnates the game. It's almost like when the Bulls are trying too hard to get Vučević the ball in the post, and everything else stops, and the defense can just load up on you because they know what you're going to do. You're going to try to lob it in there, and that's how you get a turnover. It's the same thing with Zach, where he backs out, and then he thinks I've got runway. It's my time to shine. I'm gonna get in this thing where I get tunnel vision, and I think oftentimes it just goes poorly. So, I bet you, if you wanted, you could go back and watch every single Zach possession in this game. And on every single miss, he did too much. And on every single make, he caught it clean in the flow of the offense, made a nice play, easy read, bucket.
He had at least 2 misses in the second half, as I can immediately recall, that were pump faking when he didn't need to pump fake, and then taking a more difficult shot and missing it.
Yeah. The one that drove you crazy was that long 3 that he took where he pump faked it and then shot it and hit
He's
nothing.
open, you're pump faking.
You were open, just pull that one.
And
right
I watch him at practice every day. He's working on that shot. It's not like he's just going out there and doing whatever he wants to do, but that's a hard shot. There's zero momentum.
Do you think DeMar and DeMar's arrival and DeMar's mastery of doing that in the mid-range to draw fouls has become a brainworm for Zach to make him want to pump more?
It could be. I think he wants to do the right thing. I really genuinely believe that. But sometimes it's the simplest thing is the best option, and it feels like maybe
Occam's razor.
Occam's razor, right? Exactly. It's I don't know if he has if he's trouble reading those situations, or he's already decided what he's going to do before he does it, and then he just follows through with it, even if it's not necessarily the right move in the moment. But sometimes it bites him.
And I think a lot of that is it's hard to say. For me, it's hard to say that something he has changed. I think what's changed, obviously, is the athleticism, and it felt like a lot of those things that we see him do were made up for because when he got to that paint, the athleticism made up for all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So now that it's hasn't been as prevalent this season, or it hasn't returned as quickly as he probably has wanted it to, he's trying to make up for it doing other things. That drag step thing where he shows the ball, pulls it down, and then tries to go back up with it. It hasn't been working, but it's the only thing he's got right there when he goes to the paint.
Exactly. It just seems it feels like more loud because the misses are missed layups.
Yes.
Missed finger roll layups.
Yeah.
Why is
those
Zach
missed layups
LaVine
hurt, bro.
not getting there and dunking? Like that's not Zach LaVine.
That's not.
And so when you see that, it stands out so much more than it needs to. And it's kind of like a just get back to the basics thing, like catch and shoot.
Catch and shoot,
Come off
baby.
the screen and just catch the ball and rise up. Like those are the 3-pointers that he makes coming off screens to the top of the key. Those are when he's at his most lethal.
I mean.
And I just like I don't want it to get lost in this conversation about pointing out like areas of Zach's game where he can improve.
Right.
Like I want to make it clear, Zach is so freaking good.
Yeah.
He is.
And that's why it's difficult when he makes the game harder for himself than he needs to, because he doesn't need to do it. He could just easily get into those shots.
Our guy C-Dub of Bowlon Bull, shout out to him, saying that he agrees with you, Will, in your analysis of what's going on with Zach, saying I've been yelling about that for years. Zach makes the game too hard for himself, and it's frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. The other thing that, and I saw our guy Mark K mentioning this in the comments earlier, that I wanted to talk about tonight is this bench. Guys, where did the bench go?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Usually you're seeing the bench bring the Bulls back from a deficit or build them a lead. Tonight, the Bulls had Derrick Jones Jr. and Caruso each as a +1, respectively. Nobody else off the bench had a ± in the net positive.
Yucker. That's disgusting. And the game completely changed in the first quarter when the bench came in.
Oh, my God.
That's when the game flipped.
The Bulls were up 19-7.
They were running them.
19-7.
They were running them cats. And then the bench came in. There it is. That's one.
That's one.
That is one. Congratulations, sir. See, this is why you set it up over here, Steven, right there. That's why you set it up. And there's your first hat throw of the night.
Didn't mean to almost hit you with my mic shove.
Oh, no, I wasn't worried. You were good. Trust me. Pow. Quick defenses, baby. Pow. Pow, pow. I'm quick with it. So, but yeah, man, like as soon as they came in, everything kind of changed. And when they said, we talked about Dragic playing tonight, that's why I was kind of wondering, how he would look. And Javonte the same way. I was kind of wondering how those guys would look because we both saw, you know what I'm saying, like how hard those injuries hit them. You know what I'm saying? Those were tough plays on both ends. Like when he got hit in that shoulder, I immediately told Matt, I was like, oh, that's a stinger. Immediately. Oh, that's a stinger. And when Javonte went down, I was like, oh, Lord, that whatever it is, it hurts. I know what that is. So I was interested to see how they would play tonight. And they played like guys who were coming in hurt. That's how they looked. And so you rely on guys like Kobe and Drummond is who you rely on in that situation.
Drummond had a brutal
that was his first brutal game, honestly, that he's had with the Bulls this season. Brutal game that he had. And he, again, had opportunity to dominate down there because, again, nobody's his size. Nobody's got anything for him. Anytime he would get the ball, it was like he was like, what do I do with this thing?
Another example of somebody who makes the game too difficult for himself. When he gets the ball and there's a bunch of 6'4" guys trying to box him out,
right?
He's got the ball over his head,
right?
Just turn at the rim and jump and dunk, right? You're right there.
Yeah. Now, he missed a couple of easy putback chances tonight.
Yeah, he decides to make a play out of it. You know what I mean? And unnecessarily so.
Right.
Doesn't need to be a spin move with it. Just
right. Exactly. Oh, get out my brain.
I mean, while we're on the subject, real quick.
Go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
I saw the Fire Billy Village people with their torches and pitchforks are hanging out in the comments tonight.
Oh, they back tonight?
The hashtag Billy doesn't make adjustments, folks.
Oh,
as we are talking about Drummond having an awful game, his worst game of the season.
Sure.
What happened? Did Billy put in Derrick Jones Jr. and then did Derrick Jones Jr. help the Bulls make that comeback in the fourth quarter?
That's an adjustment.
Yeah. No, Billy doesn't make adjustments though.
That's an adjustment right there.
Continue as you
I
were.
wonder, when people say that, what kind of adjustment they're looking for. Like, what specifically would be an adjustment that would satisfy this?
I think an adjustment that would lead to a win.
Right.
I think that's how they're looking bottom line to get win.
But when they do win, it's never, look at that adjustment that led to the win.
Correct. That's my point.
The Bulls won.
They're bottom lining it because when you lost, like you said, everything is more glaring when it's like that for anything. And I've seen games they won where I was like, I didn't like that shit.
Yeah.
I don't like what Billy did right there. I hated it.
And that's okay. But for me, we see all these different lineups. We see all these different decisions, different like X's and O's and like after timeout plays and things like that.
Yeah.
And so it's just confusing to me, like is the adjustment just like win?
Yes, it feels like it.
Because
Yes.
that's kind of what it feels like.
Because but you mentioned the Derrick Jones, and that's exactly where I was going right there again in the brain was Derrick Jones Jr. And bringing him in after seeing Kobe is going to be the one, Drummond is going to be the one. Let me try him. Immediately comes in and gets an and one.
Not only bringing in Derrick Jones, because I think that's a great point, but bringing him at the 5.
Yes,
yeah.
And going
correct.
small with Zach and DeMar sharing the front court with him.
I know you love that, sir.
You know I love that.
I know you enjoyed that. And immediately it
because
impact
Drummond wasn't
immediately.
playing well.
Yeah, but impact immediately though.
Yeah.
Like soon as he walked in and won. Soon as he got there.
Exactly.
And just diving to the bucket, what you're used to seeing Drummond do. He wasn't, for some reason, wasn't doing it. It's kind of like he was like feeling the pain of Dragic. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's hurt, I'm hurt. He can't move, I can't move kind of thing. Because I'm like, just dive to the bucket and do your thing. But he wasn't doing that tonight. But Derrick Jones Jr. was. He was leaving. He was going to leave him in longer, honestly, until that 3-point shot.
Yeah.
When that 3-point shot, it was like, okay, all right. Now we got to
he's got to take because he was wide open.
Correct. He has to, but he's not a 3-point shooter. And that's the only reason. You know what I'm saying? He came up out of there with that one. But outside of that, Derrick Jones Jr. I thought played solid, used his athleticism to help the Bulls tonight, and just wasn't enough.
Here's another adjustment. Kobe played 18 minutes, many of which with the starters at the end of the third quarter and I believe at the second quarter too. Like, Kobe's been out of the rotation. He's been injured. He's been missing games. But the Bulls need 3-point shooting. They need spacing, and they need to give shooting outlets to DeMar, especially when he's not having a good scoring night. So what are the options there? You bring in Dragic. He's 1 for 5, 0 for 1 on threes. He started the season like 45%. There's going to be regression there. Well, Drummond is obviously not a shooter. You can't bring him in.
Right.
Javante is not playing well. He didn't even take a field goal. So, like, what do? You play Kobe a little bit longer. Like, these are adjustments. I'm not sure, like, what else people want to see.
To highlight somebody in the comments as far as adjustments that they didn't see tonight and wanted, Odiza saying, #Billy gotta go. Vooch being used in the paint is the correct answer. Ask Stacy, Kendall, and Will Purdue.
But that's
it
what
said basically every. So
Okay.
we have already been discussing in postgame how we wanted to see more Vooch scoring inside because he was effective scoring inside.
Yeah.
There is some of that. There's also the reality of, is it really Billy's say-so to be like, all right, you know what? We're going to pound the ball to Vooch over and over and over again. And by the way, one of the most effective ISO scorers in the NBA right now, DeMar DeRozan, your touches are coming down. How does that conversation go in the locker room? I'm just curious.
I think that doesn't matter to DeMar, honestly. DeMar just likes to win. Of course, you want your touches, you want your shots and all that stuff, of course, obviously. But he said that many times before, like, dude, I don't care. Like, did we win? Yeah, great. Whatever's going to get us the win right here. Billy was doing that early on. They were doing that. They were running that ball inside the Vuce, and he was making passes out, especially to Patrick Williams, for those 3-pointers. He was making those beautiful passes out there and scoring inside. But they kind of went away from it at the end and had to clear that lane, like you said, for DeMar DeRozan, to get his shot and things like that. But Billy, man, I thought he did a solid job. Honestly, I really did. I was like, yeah. The only thing I didn't like that Billy did was the challenge. That was the only thing I didn't like. And I get why he did it. I understand why he did it. I just didn't like it because I knew they weren't going to have a timeout after that, and I wanted that timeout. But, yeah, man, that was the only thing I really didn't like was that. But outside of his adjustments and how he did it tonight, I thought he was solid. I really did.
I think there are opportunities to play through Vooch. I think some of his stat line doesn't really reflect the fact that he did play through the post. I mean, 3 assists, like the Bulls shot 36% on 12 made threes.
Yeah.
So, maybe a couple of more of those kick-out passes go in, and his line looks a lot different.
Yeah.
I just think it's really important not to get too focused on that. Like, we hear Stacey talk about it every broadcast, and I think that's his opinion. That's fine. But, like, when you talk to any of these guys, like, I've asked Billy about it several times. I've talked to Vuce about it. Like, you can't just force post play. And you can play through the post, especially with Vuce being a good passer. But what makes him so good is that he can shoot and that he can space it out, and you can play multiple ways. So you can't force feed post entries if they're not there. The defense was obviously like adjusting to that and swarming him and cramping the paint because the Bulls weren't shooting well. And so it's a balance. It's not just like we need to see Vuč down there more. It's like, what is the defense doing that's preventing the Bulls from doing that? Obviously, there are games where they do go heavy into the post. And so it's not like the Bulls are just like anti.
Yeah,
it's just it depends on the situation.
Depends on the situation, yes.
And you can't get too married to anything.
Yes. No marriage, kids. That's from the GOAT.
Our guy Mark K pointing out that it really would have been useful if Vuč could have been knocking down some of those threes to space the floor tonight, making it easier for DeMar. That's the basket.
Just what I said. You know what I mean? It's just, literally just what we said.
Right.
Like absolutely on point, Mark K, for sure. Yeah.
But if they make one more three and one more free throw, it's a tie game. If DeMar shoots, 45% instead of whatever he was at, like
Vuč was 1 for 7.
So at a certain point, it's just like the shot's got to go in. It's a make or miss league.
Right. And I see our guy C-Dub who's still railing against this concept of Vuč shooting all those threes. Look, some nights you need Vuč shooting 7 threes. One of the reasons you signed him or made that aggressive trade for him, gave up the draft capital, gave up Wendell, is because AK and Eversley saw a guy to be a starting center in the offense where he could not only be your starting center, but a floor spacer, a floor spacing center who had just, brought his three-point shooting up to a deadly 40% kind of area. It's a part of what makes Vuč an appealing offensive player.
True.
And yeah, some nights 7 sounds like a lot, and what you want Vuč shooting is more like 3 or 4 threes.
Yeah.
But we were singing Vuč's praises for drilling huge threes in their win over the Bucks 2 days ago. Their biggest win of the season. Yeah. They don't win that game without Vuč shooting threes.
Yeah. And why is he shooting threes in that game? Because the Bucks have 2 giant bigs and he can't go post up.
Correct.
How do the Bucks defend you? They sag off Vuč and collapse around DeMar, and they give up the threes. So it's situational.
Yeah.
Situational, yes, that's the word. Absolutely right. You just need to hit a couple of them, man, and people wouldn't be tripping on that.
And look, C-Dub, for the most part tonight, I would have rather seen more Vuč work being done inside than chucking 7 threes. But you know what? If he was 4 of 7 from downtown instead of 1 of 7, we're not having this conversation.
He took 10 threes against Milwaukee. Nobody got shit to say about that.
Were you upset about that?
Nobody was pissed.
Were you upset about that?
10. Come on, man.
Thank you, Dave. Love you, C-Dub. Love you so much. All right, another quick break and a word or two more from our sponsors, and then we will come back with a few more comments and a few more of your comments to wrap up. While we're doing that, hit that thumbs up button. Everybody hanging out with us on YouTube Live, we appreciate you. Big Dave.
The Rays? They shady.
Oh, so shady.
Oh, so damn shady. And they never understood, y'all, why these sunglasses were so damn expensive. Why can't the GOAT just walk around looking like Maverick in the cool shades without paying all this money?
Man, these lights are too bright. They're too bright for me.
Hey, man, you better get used to them. You a star,
some
bro.
Shady Rays.
You got to get around with the Shady Rays. And they heard your cry, GOAT. They heard you, okay? And they said, we're going to give you those premium polarized shades, that world-class optical clarity, that sustainable durability, and the styles cater to everyone and every lifestyle.
They're
going to give it to you, but they ain't going to give you a lot of money behind it. And they're going to give you that Matt Peck lost and broken replacements plan. See what he just did there? Imagine some sunglasses on that right there, ladies and gentlemen. Just imagine if some glasses on that, y'all. Guess what? Day 1 broken, day 1 new pair. From Shady Rays. They got your back, okay? That protection plan. So you can be one of those 200,000 customers that leaves them that 5-star review. You heard me, 200,000 of them customers. And one of them customers that you were telling us about over there, Steve.
That's right. My friend Mark used our promo code. He got the 2, which is pretty much buy one, get one free. And then he told me about a mystery pair. So for an extra $19, you get a mystery pair from Shady Rays, and he actually sent me the picture. The one on the right over here is the mystery pair. It's actually my favorite of the 3, and for $19, you cannot beat that.
Wait, the one on the right is the mystery pair?
Correct.
Ooh,
I like those. They kind of got like a graphite look to them.
Yeah, I like that.
Very nice.
The mystery. I digging it right there, man. That's the Shady Rays right there. And how much was that again?
$19 for the mystery pair.
Come on, y'all. Say y'all some money.
That's like free.
It's like free, man. And again, that is even without Black Friday, y'all. Saving yourself some money. So, exclusive for your listeners out there. Shady Rays run that deepest deal of the season. Use that code CHGO for 50% off of 2 or more pairs at ShadyRays.com. That's a buy one, or get one free, or what they call that, Matt Peck?
BOGO.
That's a BOGO for the Lolo, or 54 for sure. Redeem only at ShadyRays.com, where you can find all their newest and best shades, because it's Shady Rays, where the Rays are shady.
Today's episode, of course, also brought to you guys by our friends at DraftKings. DraftKings, king of the game. Wish it could have been in a winning effort, but because he scored all of our points in overtime, we had to give it to DeMar.
Come on with it.
It was looking earlier on, like we were talking about, that maybe it was going to be a Zach LaVine king of the game night, but DeMar overtook him in points and scored the only points of overtime and got his, I believe, 7th 30-point game for the Bulls this season.
Insane. This is his 14th year.
There's that.
Insane, man.
And as you see there in the graphic, also dished out 6 more assists tonight. He had 8 assists in their win over the Bucks on Wednesday. He is once again your DraftKings king of the game. Don't forget those great offers from DraftKings. $5 on any NBA moneyline bet. When your team wins that bet, $150 comes back to you in free bets.
Nice money.
Plus, those DraftKings stepped up same game parlays that can earn you up to 100% boosted odds with DraftKings. Go to that DraftKings Sportsbook app, place the same game parlay. The more legs you add, the bigger the boost, the bigger your shot to win big. Yeah. Download that app right now, and don't forget that promo code CHGO when you sign up.
Yeah. So I'm just laughing at Phil. They say I still have like 2 years worth of Built Bar.
Good.
Shout out.
I mean,
man.
you should be having a Built Bar every day.
Having
Good for you.
Built
They're
Bar.
delicious.
And then drinking some of that Athletic Greens is what you should be drinking on,
Oh,
man.
you know, I had my AG1 this morning.
I'm so proud of you, man.
Always.
So proud. Will you have yours?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Of course.
Yeah. I had some
course.
yesterday, actually. Thank you very much.
What'd you think?
I
You
put-
ready for vegan Thanksgiving?
Vegan Thanksgiving.
He threw it for vegan Thanksgiving. For vegan's giving.
Damn right I threw for vegan Thanksgiving. It's an oxymoron.
Oh, it was delicious.
Yeah.
I like it because it smelled good, and man, was still like, it's the worst. I hate it.
It's a principle.
He's got, hey man, he's
got
riding
it
this
for
far.
vegan
Vegan Thanksgiving.
He's got to stay on that train, all right? He's got to stay on that train. I just can't wait till that day. I'll just catch him in the corner, just smash, crouch down. Don't look at me. I can't wait for that day. It's going to be fun. It's delicious.
You're going to be waiting for that day for a
that
long
anger
time.
meter's
I got
about
time,
to-
man. You don't think that's one thing I got, baby?
That anger meter's on the rise.
It's climbing. It's slowly climbing. I mean, as long as I'm in a bad mood, let's address this. I saw some people talking about it in the comments earlier. Another kind of rough night for Ayo, you guys.
Yeah.
Y'all know that we love Ayo. He's our guy.
Very much so.
He hangs out with us sometimes. He graces us with his presence. But 25 minutes, fewest minutes by far of anybody in that starting five. Just 7 points. He did have 4 assists, but I mean, just didn't really seem engaged tonight. I don't really know what that is, but it's more than one or more than a couple of these games recently we've seen from Ayo. What do you guys think of this little mini backslide that Ayo's on?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to say it. It just felt like a slump. A friend of mine, my man from according to sources, my man Dre, we were discussing that, and he was like, it just felt like he's in a slump kind of right now. And I was like, yeah, I think you're right. I was like, it just doesn't look comfortable. And we saw him airball that shot when Vučević sets the pick for him, and he took that shot from the elbow.
That pull-up mid-range?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like he didn't want to take that shot, but he knew that's the shot to take, and he wasn't ready to take it, but it didn't hit anything when he put it up there. But I think he's just still kind of finding it. And I like the fact that the way he's finding it is I'm going to the bucket. Like, I like that aspect of it. That's how I'm trying to find it. Because he that was important within this little run in the third quarter that OKC was making when Ayo just said, fuck it, I'm going to the bucket. Oh, that rhymed. Oh, snap. Oh, that was hard.
Put it on a shirt.
I like it. That was hard, son. Oh, but I like that when he did that. And just keeping the Bulls in there, trying to keep them engaged in the best way that he possibly knew how. But, yeah, man, it just feels like he's slumping a little bit. I mean, the three-point totals in the last few games, I would say after he went, 2 for 7 against Toronto, like after that, man, 0 for 4, 0 for 3 Like it's been a struggle for him, but again, it's because it's hard for me to ever criticize because I'm always like, I know his mental is straight. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I know he gonna get that together. But yeah, he's struggling right now. That's the reality of it.
I think it's pretty much as simple as that. He had a play, I think it might have been the Bulls' first score where he had that and one layup and just kind of was a little bit invisible after that. And that's okay. Like that.
Yeah.
There are games. And as we talk about this game as a whole, it's like kind of just everybody wasn't at their best tonight. And that's kind of what happens, you know, when not everybody plays well, or, you know, when some people don't play well, but others are so good that it compensates. It's hard to win games.
Yeah.
The Bulls got, you know, out free throwed. Their field goal percentage was worse. Like DeMar wasn't at his very best. Like it's just, you're not going to win every game. And it sucks that it was against a team that they could have beat.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, for Ayo specifically, like I'm not super worried about him in the same way that like Patrick has built up enough goodwill for me that, you know, over these last 10 or however many games where he's been playing well, if he has a stinker next game, like I'm not going to be that concerned about it.
Right.
So you're saying that Patrick has built up enough good will
Exactly.
with you?
Wow. Good effort. I didn't like that one. Good effort, though. Good effort.
Eric J in the comments saying we've got too many hands in the point guard cookie jar. We might have to unload some guys so Ayo can get minutes.
Man, everybody's trading everybody.
Look, I don't think Ayo only playing 25 minutes tonight was about the fact that Billy felt a need to play a combined, you know, 50, 60-some minutes between Dragic, Kobe White, and Caruso. I think it's that he saw that Ayo was having a tough night.
Yeah.
And he went with his other guys and was hoping that he could get something out of that bench.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the other fun part of that question, if you think the Bulls have too many point guards in the point guard cookie jar, is theoretically we might have Alonzo Ball sighting sometime in another couple months. Then what?
Then how many point guards you want?
But, you know, I don't necessarily want to throw this giant can of worms out there right now as we're wrapping up postgame, but we did mention after Kobe had that massive win, clinching performance against the Bucks Wednesday, do we start talking about Kobe White's trade value?
We got to whisper.
Do we start talking about it? Should I start talking about it?
I'm not going to talk about it yet.
Can we only talk about it from the side of our mouths?
I do, but AK, you're right. P. Will did play great. Like he really did. He really played well, especially on the defensive end. I thought he really shined on that end. And he keeps having those moments that frustrates Matt. Like, because he's like, dude, look, yes, that all the time. More and more all the time of that. My favorite moment was when my man on the sideline ran into him and just realized, oh, shit, this is a wall. This is not a human.
Rocked him.
My God. Like,
rocked him.
He's still trying to figure out what's going on. You know what I'm saying right now, man. I enjoyed that aspect. He threw his size around tonight. Now, and I agree with you, like when he was going up for some of those dunks, it felt like it could have been stronger. You know what I mean? Like I like the idea and the fact that he was doing it.
I want him to be like vicious.
Yes.
I want him to be mean.
Yeah.
Mean. Yes.
He's too nice. He's such a nice guy.
He's nice.
I want him to be mean at the rim.
It's him learning that. Like honestly, I really think he's building towards those things because he's starting to do the stuff that he wasn't doing 10 games ago. You know what I mean? Like even doing that move, going into the rim to try to dunk on that. It's not a thing that he was normally doing. And I'm starting to see him try to do that more and more every game. Now it's not try to do it, but just do it.
Instinctually.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like Rip Torn talking to Stephen Root in Dodgeball. You got to get mean. You got to get angry. Well, I'm just really not much of an angry person. That's Pat.
Get
angry, Pat.
Said throw a wrench at Pat. That's what he said.
The thing that's been great for me about Pat these last couple games, especially against the Bucks and now again tonight, is it seems like something has clicked for him defensively where he is starting to understand positioning a little bit better.
Yeah.
He's moving his feet a little bit better, keeping guys in front of him. I think he had 2 blocks in the Bucks game, 2 blocks again tonight, a steal in each game. Like just being in the right place. I think that's showing signs of growth in terms of just basketball know-how and IQ and like knowing where to be. And to me, that could be a precursor to offensive growth too.
Yeah.
If you start to understand the game well, it just makes everything easier.
Yeah.
So I've really liked what I've seen from him. Obviously, the willingness to shoot is one thing, but it's like those teaching moments, like with the screen setting versus slipping.
Yeah.
These are things that I think that he's picking up on, and that is like where you start to take steps. It's not just like he's been in the league now for a year, he's going to be better the next year. It's like he's picking up on certain areas and like figuring that part of his game out. And now he can go to the next area that he doesn't quite understand yet and figure that out. And then you start building all those things together, and all of a sudden you've incrementally grown into a really good player.
Right.
And I think that's kind of where we're starting to trend with him.
Yeah, absolutely. The process, man. It's just
That's
the
the
steps.
process.
Just
Of
the
course,
steps, bro.
our guy Marquet couldn't not point out the missed box out and rebound.
Gotta be on brand,
There's
baby.
always going to be one crucial mistake. I think we're going to wrap it up there. We're going to wrap up a little early tonight. It's Thanksgiving weekend. Y'all go hang out with your families. We'll go hang out with ours.
Eat.
I don't want to talk for 10 more minutes about how the Bulls just broke my heart losing to a crap team like that tonight. So here's the good news.
Y'all say hey?
Our weekend cyber sale still on.
Still on.
Still on.
Still there.
Get the King of the Force
50
shirt.
per
Get the new CHGO winter beanie.
What he say?
I'm copping one of those.
Yeah, he
Up
is.
to 50% off almost every single
It
item
is.
in that CHGO merch locker.
Yes, sir.
All through the weekend and into Cyber Monday.
look at that.
Plus, those of you who are diehard CHGO members, or if you're thinking about becoming one, guess what?
Guess
Your
what?
20% discount from the merch locker as a diehard member, you get that on top of our Cyber Weekend 50% off offers.
On the Tiz app?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's like basically getting Christmas gifts for yourself or for your family members for free.
For free.
70% off, basically free.
Without leaving.
So go shop, allchgo.com, go to that merch locker, and have yourself some fun.
And it's
Do some
24
shopping.
hours. 7 days a week. It don't close. You don't
It's
have
there.
to go anywhere. Right in
Plus
your
another fun
drawers.
perk, if
Do
you
it.
spend $75, you get a $15 gift card.
Come
for the next
on,
time you
man.
wanna Pop into that
They're
merch
just
locker.
giving this stuff out to people. This is beautiful.
Bulls off this weekend. No game Saturday, no game Sunday. The road trip continues Monday in Utah. I believe it's an 8 p.m. Central tip, so we will be here for pregame at 7:30. So enjoy y'all's weekend. We'll go enjoy ours.
Food.
Bear down.
Yeah.
Make sure you tune in for our Bears coverage on Sunday.
Bear down.
Pre and post
And
CHGO
Justin
Bears.
Fields, sit down.
Don't you even think about letting Justin Fields onto that field
Sit down.
this Sunday.
Sit down.
Have a seat, Justin.
Please.
Shout out and thanks one more time to our excellent producer and our friend Steven filling in for Joey this weekend. And follow Will on Twitter, Will_Gottlieb. Big Dave is at Bow, BWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls.
That thumb.
Appreciate y'all.
Perfect.
Hit the
Have a
like.
great weekend. Have a great Thanksgiving weekend, Bulls
Yeah.
Nation. Stay safe out there. We will talk to you on Monday for pregame. For Steven, Will, and Dave, I'm Peck. Love ya. See you, Red. Be good.
70.